because the media's had this in front of them the whole time. The Hunter Biden story, which has been slapping them and smacking them in the face. I mean, we wrote about it. And by the way, there's a book coming out by Miranda Devine, Disclosure. My publishing operation does have a role in the book, and it is a book about Hunter Biden's dreaded laptop by the great Miranda Devine. I'll be telling you about it when it comes out, and there's a reason I wanted a piece of it, because it is a must read. Well, the New York Post by Miranda Devine got a little scoop about what's coming up in that book. Hunter Biden brought Vice President Joe to dinner with shady business partners. Ladies and gentlemen, none of this story is new. We had the receipt for the Hunter Biden laptop. The receipt had an FBI number. The receipt that the FBI gave the laptop store owner, repairman, when they took it. We had an FBI case number. We've known about this case for a long time. But breaking yesterday, these are new details you'll read about in the book and elsewhere. It's now no longer even up for negotiation that Hunter Biden was at a minimum discussing via email, sitting down as vice president father with corrupt business people overseas, some of whom were enemies of the United States. There's one guy. Here's one email. Dear Hunter, thank you for inviting me to D.C. and giving me an opportunity to meet your father and spending some time together. Pizarski wrote, this guy's from Burisma. They were paying Hunter $83,000 a month in Ukraine to sit on their board. Is that email fake? It's an email acknowledging that this Burisma executive sat down with Hunter Biden's dad, sitting Vice President Joe Biden. Is it fake? Here's another even more disturbing email about what Hunter Biden was up to. Apparently, he prepared a guest list, and one of the people on that guest list was Russian billionaire Yelena Baturina and her husband, the corrupt former Moscow mayor Yuri Luzkov, who since has died. Baturina wired $3.5 million on February 14, 2014 to one of Hunter Biden's companies. Why are we bringing up the Hunter Biden story? Because we will never, ever, ever let it go. Ever, no matter what. We have a corrupt president in the White House. Yes, a corrupt president who has lied repeatedly, who has told the press multiple times he had no idea about his son's corrupt business dealings with enemies of the United States and Russia, corrupt Russian politicians, aristocrats and oligarchs, and a Burisma company that was under investigation in Ukraine. Vice President, now President Biden, has said repeatedly he had no idea what his son was up to. How did you have no idea if you were at the dinner? You don't believe me? He denied it. Here's video of Joe Biden talking to Axios where he's asked the question, and I'm going to play this thing out in full. Here's Biden categorically denying he had any idea what his son was up to in Ukraine and elsewhere overseas. Check this out.
On your son, Hunter Biden, President Trump says, Sleepy Joe has real problems. Reminds me of Crooked Hillary and her 33,000 deleted emails. A lot of the Ukraine charges about you have been debunked and more unfair. There's one thing that a lot of Democrats even do wonder about, and that is Hunter Biden, your son, was getting paid a lot of money to serve on the board of a Ukrainian energy company facing serious corruption charges. You were the vice president running point on Ukraine. The average Joe hears that and says, that sounds fishy. What's your understanding of what your son was doing for an extraordinary amount of money?
I don't know what he was doing. I know he was on the board. I found out he was on the board after he was on the board, and that was it. And there's nobody...
Well, you've had a lot of time. Isn't this something you want to get to the bottom of?
No, because I trust my son.
But that doesn't pass the smell test. Like when you're vice president, isn't there a higher standard? Don't you need to know what's happening with your family? Don't you need to put down some guardrails?
Unless there was something that was, there was something on its face that was wrong. There's nothing on its face that was wrong. So look, if you want to talk about problems, let's talk about Trump's family.
You see the deflection tactic? Carville did the same thing in his piece about violence in liberal cities across America. Oh, no, it's not liberal mayors. Trump did it. And because media people are so obsessed with Trump, chasing Trump, talking about Trump, dreaming about Trump, fantasizing about Trump, because they're lunatics, fact checkers as well. Everything has to be about Trump. How does Hunter Biden having dinner with his dad and an enemy of the United States, a corrupt Moscow mayor, and a company that was under investigation in Ukraine while Biden was a point man for Ukraine, have anything to do with Donald Trump? And media people suck it up.